You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome, fight fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report and the Combat Sports Report with Hanson Crafton. Hanson, big weekend in boxing and in MMA. We'll start with the boxing. Tell us about it.
We got a doubleheader in boxing this weekend. We got a all-female card on Friday night, Madison Square Garden, headlined by the third fight between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. So it's going to be there's actually a couple title fights on there. So it's going to be a big night for women's boxing. These two have had two really good fights in the past. Katie Taylor has come away with both victories. Katie Taylor may be the greatest women's boxer. Just depends on who people think, but she's definitely in the conversation. She's 24-1. Her one loss was actually a few fights ago. She lost to undefeated Chantel Cameron, but she did avenge that loss in her very next fight. So she had a majority decision loss to her, and then came back and had a majority decision win. In between those fights, she has only fought one other girl outside of Serrano. Serrano, on the other hand, in between the first two fights, has went 5-0, but she did lose a split decision to Katie Taylor, and then the last fight, it was a unanimous decision. This is one of those fights that's big for both girls. For Katie Taylor, it could be the swan song. If she wins this fight, I could see her retiring. She could go out on top, super lightweight champion. Like I said, she's career until just a couple fights ago when she lost to Cameron, but she did avenge that loss. So pretty much a lot of people, she's the pound for pound number one women's fighter. She's ranked number one in the world. And then Serrano, it's a big fight for her. If she wins this fight, I could see them probably doing a fourth fight, which, these have been big paydays for both these girls, big for the sport, big for women in general. So this is a huge fight for her. Like I said, she did have 5 wins in between her 2 losses to Taylor. So Serrano's a very game opponent. She's more of the puncher of the two. She has 47 wins, 31 are by knockout. But I would think Taylor is probably the better boxer. And with these two, one issue they have is their styles just clash weird. In both fights, there have been some headbutt issues where Serrano's been cut open pretty good. With some headbutts. Yeah, so there's a lot of genuine respect between the two. When they get their press conferences, you could tell there's respect there, but there also is some bad blood. Taylor says Serrano makes excuses. Serrano says Taylor's a dirty fighter. So they do have something to settle in there. It's going to be a good fight.
And you said this is a lightweight championship, correct, Hanson?
Super lightweight, 135 pounds for the women.
Super lightweight. All right. And who's your pick?
I think Katie Taylor probably wins again. She's won the first 2. Like I said, I think she's the better boxer. So I think she wins again. It'll be another close fight. Both fights were super close. It'll be another really close fight, but I could see Taylor getting the nod here.
So you're predicting decision?
Yes.
All right. And where can everybody see this one?
It's going to be on Netflix.
Good for Netflix.
With the Jake Paul promotion, most valuable promotions.
Nice. I hope that's good for the sport because promotional companies have not been in the past.
Yeah. It's interesting to see how the Netflix thing goes. It's got a lot of subscribers. My only worry with this fight is that it's on Friday night.
It could be a good television.
That's what I'm kind of interested in seeing. I don't know if it's...
They had Friday night boxing for years, right?
Right.
So this could kind of take the place of that hopefully some of the people who were in the routine of watching boxing every Friday night, maybe they'll catch on to this and it can become a thing.
I think they want it to, it'd be very big for Netflix. They're trying to get into the fight game. I know they've added wrestling to their thing, so they're trying to add the live stuff to it. So this would really help them move in that direction.
And then on Saturday, Hanson, we got a good one with the lightweight championship on the line.
Yes, we do. 2 really good fighters. You got undefeated Chris Stevenson, ranked number 2 in the world in the lightweight class. He's 23-0, and he's taking on William Zapata, who is also undefeated, 33-0, and ranked number 4 in the world in lightweights. This is going to be a really good fight. Both guys have fought recently, so they both should be in good shape, good boxing shape. They both should be fit, ready to go. Shakur just fought last in February, and then William Zapata just fought in March. Zapata's coming off back-to-back wins over Tevin Farmer. Tevin Farmer's a good fighter as well. I know he just got beaten his last fight, but before that fight, he was a good fighter, good formidable opponent for him. So this is going to be an exciting fight. The winner will probably get a really big fight after this. Could be, I think they're going to try to go undisputed with the lightweight titles. I know this one's just for the WBC. So there's 2 more out there. I think Tank has one. I think T.O. probably has the other.
Good division at the time, right?
Oh, it's a really good division. Had a lot of good fighters. A lot of good fighters coming up to this division as well from the division below. Really good card. Between New York, going to be at the Louis Armstrong Stadium. It's going to be on DAZN. So it's going to be a DAZN pay-per-view. And this one also starts at 8 o'clock on Saturday. There's several good fights on this card. A few that I'm very interested in. One is the return of David Morrell. David Morrell's 11-1. His last fight was a loss, but he fought David Benavidez, who's a nightmare for anybody in that weight class. So it'll be interesting to see how he responds. He's going to be taking on Iman Kativov, who is also 10-0. So this is a big fight for him. Morrell's ranked number 5 in the light heavyweight class. Iman is ranked 13th. So this is a good fight between 2 really good prospects. I'm leaning towards Morrell. I was really impressed with him in his last fight with Benavidez. I thought he looked like a really good puncher. He actually hurt Benavidez one time in that fight. But, he lost. And like I said, Benavidez is no slouch. He beats everybody.
Yeah.
He makes everybody look bad. And Morrell didn't look bad against him. He stayed there. He didn't get finished.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to win that fight at one point, right?
Yeah, I mean, he had some big shots. He had some good rounds. Benavidez is notorious for taking over fights late. He'll wear you out with his pressure and his combinations, and then when you get tired, he does it. And that was the same strategy, when it worked for him in that fight. Morrell slowed down a hair because he does put a lot on his punches. I think he probably learned from that fight, and he may come in a little more hesitant to do that. So that's a fun fight. And then another fun fight on here is the Berlinga against Hamza Shariz.
On the undercard?
Yes, it's on the pay-per-view, but it's not the co-main or the main event. It'll probably be the first fight on the pay-per-view, but you've got Shariz, who is Turkey. It's one of Turkey's guys. His last fight kind of got a gift. It was a draw against Carlos Adames. I thought Adames probably won that fight, but it was in Saudi Arabia. It was pushed by Turks, so you know how boxing is. So he got the draw there. 21-0. He is a big puncher. He's got 17 knockouts. He's won by knockout. His last 6 fights have been all finishes. So he is coming in on quite a bit of road outside of his last fight, like I said. But Carlos Adames is no slouch. He's a guy who doesn't get the credit he deserves, but he's a very good fighter. And he showed it in that last fight. He gave Shariz all kinds of fits. He was a problem for him. But Berlinga's a guy who's coming off a loss. Well, he's not coming off a loss. His last fight he did win, but it was against kind of a gimme fight. The fight before that, he did fight Canelo, and he beat Canelo, but he went the distance with him. I know he got hurt early in the fight, got knocked down in the second round, but he was able to survive. And, Canelo's one of the best fighters in the world, so that's not really a terrible loss to have on your career. So,
of course.
This is still a big chance for Berlinga. It's a good fight for him. They're both young. They're both looking to have big fights after this. So Berlinga's not a guy that's going to go in there and lay down for Shariz. Shariz is the bigger guy. They had a press conference yesterday where they did a face-off, and Berlinga's going to be undersized, but Berlinga's a puncher. I don't know if he's going to be able to knock Shariz out. Berlinga is a guy who kind of will gas himself out if throwing punches. Shariz seemed like he was they had a lot of good combination trades, a lot of really good exchanges in the middle of the ring. So this is a fight I'm looking forward to. I think Shariz will come out with the victory here. He just, to me, looks like the overall better fighter. I think he's got the better resume outside of Berlinga fighting Canelo. But, you know, it's boxing. Berlinga's a good puncher. Maybe he could land something and change the fight. But I see Sharice probably getting a decision in this fight. I think he's just the overall better boxer.
What percentage chance it's a knockout?
Super middleweight, they're kind of bigger guys. I'd say 50%, 50-50.
50-50. And if it is a knockout, what percentage chance for each guy?
If it's a knockout, I think Berlinga would have the better chance to win by knockout. Like I said, he's a bigger puncher. But like I said, I've seen him get hurt. He was dropped by Canelo. Sharice is a good boxer, so maybe Sharice probably 30%. Sharice could get a knockout. But I feel like Sharice would probably win by decision. If he wins and if Berlinga wins, it could be by knockout. I don't think Berlinga is going to be able to outclass him for the full fight. But he can land some big shots. So I'm not putting that past him at all. I just see this one going the distance, and I think Sharice will probably come away with the victor here.
All right, Hanson, let's turn our attention to MMA, and we've got a UFC card in Nashville. Not a top flight card, but a pretty good one with some heavyweights, as you know, my favorite division.
Yeah, so the main event's a really good main event. Derek Lewis, who's a fan favorite, he leads the UFC in knockouts for heavyweights. He's a guy who's 28 wins. He's got 23 knockouts. He's got 9 knockouts in the first round in the UFC. So he's a very exciting fighter. Anytime he fights, people want to watch just for that reason. You know, he's had fights where he's been losing. One famous fight he has against one of the Russian guys. He was losing 2-0, win the third round, left it all out there, ended up catching a guy with probably a minute left in the fight, knocked him out, got the win, ended up getting a title shot from it. Just a very exciting fighter. He's going to be taking on Taliesin Teixeira. Now, Teixeira he's a guy who's not ranked as high as Lewis. He's the 13th ranked heavyweight right now, but he is 8-0. He has 7 wins by knockout as well, 1 win by submission. All 8 of his victories have been in the first round. He is the favorite going into this fight, but Derek Lewis is a guy you can't count out. I think one of the last times he had a fight, he was the underdog. He came out, landed a flying knee to start the fight, and ended up taking the guy out in like 15, 20 seconds.
Whoa.
Lewis is a very dangerous guy. He's dangerous standing in front of anybody, but Teixeira's shown that he's dangerous too. And Lewis is a guy who is susceptible to the knockout. He has been stopped a few times in his career. He does have 12 losses. So this one could go either way. It's one of those fights that it's not going to go the distance. I'm 100% sure on that one. This fight will end early. The main event scheduled for 5 rounds. It probably won't go past 2. Somebody will get finished in this fight, and it'll probably be by knockout. The only person who could get a submission is going to be Teixeira, and she's just a Brazilian black belt in jiu-jitsu. But I think he's going to look to finish on the feet because he does have 7 of his 8 wins by knockout. And Lewis, he always looks to finish on the feet. So this is going to be a really exciting fight. Like I said, don't miss it because it's not going to last long. You got to catch this one when it starts because it's going to be over probably within 5 to 10 minutes of the fight.
Like Hagler Hearns. You've seen that old fight, right? They just come out punching each other, standing in the middle of the ring. Whatever happens, happens. I think that you're probably going to see something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would almost bet my house on this fight doesn't go past 2 rounds. I mean, it's going to be one of those fights where it's just how both of them fight. Somebody's going to get finished. I can almost guarantee that.
And this one is what time and on what network, Hanson?
It's going to be 9 o'clock, and it's on ESPN.
And do you have a prediction for that one?
I'm going to have to go with the odds makers here. I'm going to go with the young guy. I think Teixeira is going to go in there and get a big win for his career moving forward.
There's another interesting heavyweight fight as well.
Yes, there is. It'll probably be the first fight on the main card on ESPN+. But you've got Vitor Petrino. Vitor Petrino is another Brazilian. He's coming in. He's going to take on Austin Lane. Now, Vitor is a huge favorite going into this fight, but in MMA, sometimes that doesn't matter. Sometimes it does. He's minus 750, which is a pretty big favorite in MMA.
Yeah.
He is another guy who's got a lot of finishes. He's got 11 wins, 7 by knockout, 4 in the first round. So he's another guy that comes out looking for the finish. And Austin Lane, he's a guy, he's also a big guy, big punching guy. He's got 13 wins, 11 of his are by knockout. He's only got one submission. So this is another guy that's going to look to stand on the feet. And he's got 9 finishes in the first round as well. So this is another fight. I don't see it going past 2 rounds. Somebody's going to get finished. I think Vitor probably gets this one done. I feel like he's more well-rounded than Austin Lane. But little gloves, big puncher, you never know. Lane could land something. He could put Petrino out. He could change a fight with his punches. So this is a very interesting fight. I'm like you. I love heavyweight fights because you never really know. Especially in MMA when they wear these small gloves. I mean, they got 4-ounce gloves on. Anything can happen when you get 2 big men in a cage standing in front of each other throwing punches. So I expect this one to end early. I do lean towards Petrino, but as the same as in the main event, I wouldn't be surprised either way. You know, like I said, the odds have it pretty one-sided. Kind of agree with them. Like I said, I think Vitor's more well-rounded. I think Lane does kind of leave himself. He likes to kind of throw himself in the fire. He does have 6 losses, so he will put himself in position to get hit. It's just going to be if he can take it or not.
Sounds like a pretty good weekend. Not one of the top weekends of some of the stuff we have coming up, but a really solid weekend if you're a fight fan.
Yeah, it's a good start to a run of some really good fights. Got a couple of good weekends coming up. I think next weekend there's another double card. I think they're going to both be on Saturday next weekend, but it's going to be the return of Pacquiao, so that card's on there. That's a pretty good card. And then you're going to have the heavyweight championship with Usyk and Du Bois. So really good couple weeks coming up, and then it's all going to come to a head when we get Canelo and Crawford. Probably one of the biggest fights in the last 5 to 10 years. So it's a pretty good run of some good fights coming. UFC also does have some good fights coming up. Next weekend they have a fight as well. Dustin Poirier's final fight. He's going to be retiring. He's going out with a bang. He's going to fight Max Holloway for the BMF title. So yeah, we're coming in a stretch where there was a stretch there where we didn't have any good fights, and now we're going to have about a month of good fights every weekend. So it's a pretty good time, and it's going to be a fun few weeks coming up.
And we will be talking about it every week, and we will be reviewing this weekend's fight early next week. Thanks so much, Hanson.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Always fun talking fighting with Hanson. Appreciate his time. Sorry about the extraneous noise. I was driving. It was the only way to get the podcast in this week, and we thought it was worth it with a pretty big weekend. And we got lots of big weekends coming up. We'll be hearing a lot from Hanson in the next few weeks. Can't wait. Thanks for listening. Please share the Central Indiana Sports Report with your friends and family if you're interested in us continuing to bring you quality podcasts. Thank you so much. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.